what it would feel like to be so intensely driven towards something that you almost feel like you're on autopilot, but with laser focus. Every setback would become fuel, every doubt would disappear, and even the biggest obstacles would look like small hills instead of insurmountable mountains. It's not just about achieving more or reaching a particular goal, it's like being in tune with a force that propels you forward. Imagine that kind of power. It feels unbreakable, almost like you're operating from a place so deep and meaningful that no amount of rejection, criticism, or challenge can reach it. When we look at Elon Musk, this sense of purpose practically radiates from him. Whether he's launching rockets, advancing sustainable energy, or transforming transportation, it's clear he's not driven by the goal of simply becoming wealthier or more famous. It's about something much larger, something deeply embedded in his vision of how he wants to impact the world. And here's what's fascinating. That level of purpose and drive isn't something reserved only for the iconic figures, the so-called outliers. It's available to each of us, in our own ways, in our own pursuits. The trick, though, lies in how we find it and bring it into our lives. We often assume that people like Musk have some secret formula or trait that allows them to keep pushing boundaries. But what if it's not a matter of superhuman abilities or being born with unusual talent? What if this drive is something we can all tap into by simply getting closer to who we truly are? What if it's about stepping back from what others expect, ignoring the voices that tell us to play it safe, and instead leaning into our own eccentricities, our unfiltered ideas, and those visions that make us feel alive? In this video, I'll show you how to get a little closer to that, how to tap into a deeper version of your own authentic drive that maybe you've never considered before. By taking Musk's example and unpacking what actually fuels him, not the fame, not the money, but something that comes from within, you may discover that same intensity inside yourself. We'll look at a straightforward practice that you can use starting today to identify and nurture this side of yourself. When people talk about Musk, they usually mention the same traits: ambition, innovation, a high tolerance for risk. And those are true, but they're not the whole story. What really makes Musk unique is his unapologetic authenticity. He doesn't spend time concealing who he is to fit neatly into the world's expectations. He embraces his quirks, his bold ideas, his unconventional beliefs, and even his flaws. In other words, he's entirely himself all the time. And that's why he polarizes people so strongly. Some see him as visionary, others as reckless, but no one is indifferent. His authenticity shines through everything he does, and it's this quality that gives him an edge beyond his intelligence or financial resources. It's his unfiltered personality woven into every decision he makes, every project he starts, and every risk he takes. This authenticity is what gives him resilience. He's not acting according to someone else's playbook, he's creating his own. So, what does Musk's intense authenticity mean for you? Think about it. Most of us hide certain parts of ourselves every day. We tone down our true selves to fit in, to avoid rocking the boat, to keep life comfortable and predictable. It's subtle. We don't even notice we're doing it most of the time. We take on roles, act in ways we think others expect, and settle into habits that keep us in a safe zone. We follow routines, stick to our comfort zones, and shape our actions around what we think will make us successful or accepted. But every time we suppress those parts of ourselves that feel risky or unconventional, we're also hiding the very things that might unlock that unstoppable drive, that real connection to who we are. Imagine if you didn't hold back, if you gave yourself permission to be your most authentic self, quirks and all. What would that change in your life? Would it make your goals feel more attainable? Would it make you feel more alive, more aligned, even more willing to take risks that you'd otherwise avoid? Because the truth is, Musk isn't successful solely because he's intelligent or wealthy. His power lies in his ability to align his true personality with everything he does, to bring his entire self into his work without compromise. Imagine for yourself a similar alignment. What if every choice you made, every path you pursued, was infused with all the things that make you, you? Not just the polished version you show to the world, but the whole picture. Your odd ideas, your unfiltered thoughts, the interests that make you different. The force behind that kind of authenticity is strong, almost unbreakable. It creates a resilience that's hard to shake because you're no longer hiding or bending to fit someone else's idea of who you should be. You're fully present, fully engaged, fully driven by a purpose that's all your own. That's the real power in Musk's approach, and it's available to all of us if we're willing to do the work of uncovering it. It's not about following Musk's exact path, but about discovering and trusting your own. Have you ever felt yourself holding back? Maybe it's a small idea you're afraid to voice at work, or a hobby you hesitate to share because it feels too weird or out of place. Perhaps it's a side of yourself you've tucked away, thinking it wouldn't be accepted or understood. But here's the irony. These unique parts of you, the ones you're hesitant to reveal, might actually be the missing pieces to discovering your deepest drive. Imagine if, instead of hiding these parts, you use them as fuel. What if those quirks and unconventional ideas you've kept under wraps became the foundation for your motivation? The reality is, this kind of approach is radically different from how most of us operate on a daily basis. We're so conditioned to fit in, to match others' expectations, and to follow conventional wisdom that suggests success is about hard work, discipline, and focus alone. But those traits, as important as they are, will only take you so far if you're suppressing the real you. In just a minute, I'll share an exercise that can help you begin turning these hidden, authentic parts of yourself into a powerful source of energy. But first, let's consider why this isn't advice you often hear. Most of the world tells us that success follows a specific formula. Put in the hours, stay disciplined, and keep grinding toward your goals. And while these are key components, they aren't enough if you're missing one crucial element, the freedom to be yourself. Musk's journey shows us this clearly. Yes, he's worked hard, taken massive risks, and maintained intense focus, but his drive also comes from an unapologetic freedom to be exactly who he is. What if the thing that's been holding you back isn't a lack of discipline or a shortage of effort, but a reluctance to let your real self shine through? You might think you know what you want, but if you're constantly filtering or hiding parts of yourself, that desire can feel hollow or hard to sustain. True drive, the kind that keeps pushing you forward even when things get tough, doesn't come from strict discipline alone. It comes from giving yourself permission to be yourself in every moment. It's about letting go of the rules you think you should follow, releasing the judgments and insecurities that hold you back, and daring to be authentic. This is the part most people overlook. It's not just about knowing your goals, but about clearing away the layers of self-doubt and fear that keep you from embracing the real you. So how can you start accessing this side of yourself? Here's a practice to try. One that's simple but potentially transformative. The daily honesty check. Every day, find a quiet moment and ask yourself one question. What am I holding back today? Take a moment to reflect. It could be an opinion you kept to yourself, an idea you didn't share, or a feeling you suppressed. Then, challenge yourself to bring that part of yourself forward in some small way. Share the thought, test the idea, act on the feeling, even if it feels uncomfortable or vulnerable. It might seem simple, but this practice is about getting in touch with what you're really feeling and thinking, moment by moment, and giving yourself permission to act on it. You'll start noticing how often you filter your words, suppress your ideas, or let a fear of judgment keep you from being real. Over time, this simple check-in will help you become more in tune with the parts of yourself you may have hidden away. And as those parts become more present in your daily life, they'll naturally start fueling your motivation in a way that feels effortless, authentic, and unstoppable. The idea here isn't to overhaul your personality or drastically change overnight. It's about making small, consistent choices to be a little more honest with yourself each day. And as you do, you might find that your goals begin to align more naturally with who you are, that your energy becomes stronger, and that your drive becomes something no one else can imitate because it's so uniquely you. Let me tell you a quick story of someone I know who decided to experiment with this idea of authenticity. A friend of mine, a talented artist, had always felt compelled to keep her art style toned down for the sake of her clients. She thought her bolder, more expressive ideas might not be appreciated or understood, so she tucked them away, creating art that was polished but missing a certain spark. She found herself feeling drained, and her motivation dwindled over time. It was as if the more she held back, the less she felt connected to her own work, and the very thing she once loved began to feel like a chore. Then, she tried something different. She decided to give this honesty check a chance, even though it felt uncomfortable. She began by allowing subtle elements of her true style to peek through in her work. A splash of color here, an unconventional shape there, small touches that felt genuine to her vision. With each piece, she inched closer to what she really wanted to create, and over time, she grew bolder, less afraid of judgment. She stopped hiding the edgier aspects of her art, even if it meant a client might not approve. She found herself sharing her work more openly and with greater passion. And here's the surprising part. The more authentic her art became, the more people were drawn to it. She started to attract a following, not because she was trying to please everyone, but because she was being true to herself. The shift didn't just impact her career, it reignited her motivation. Her drive returned with a new force, one that wasn't based on deadlines or pleasing others, but on a deeper passion that felt unbreakable. Her authentic style became a magnet, pulling in people who connected with her vision, her energy, and her unique perspective. This is what happens when you stop filtering yourself and let your real self shine through. Now, you might be thinking, that sounds straightforward enough. But here's the thing. This practice of honesty isn't as easy as it sounds. Think about it. When was the last time you shared something raw, real, and unfiltered about yourself? We often don't realize just how much we edit our thoughts, words, and actions to fit in, to be liked, to avoid judgment. It's a natural response. But over time, it wears down our authenticity and weakens the inner drive that comes from being genuinely connected to who we are. This honesty practice goes beyond simply feeling better about yourself or achieving your goals. It's about creating a life that's a true reflection of who you are, a life where your actions, decisions, and even your struggles align with your deepest values and passions. And that's the kind of life that can generate real, lasting motivation, because it's fueled by something meaningful, something rooted in your true identity. Elon Musk's drive shows us something powerful about this difference between conventional success and authentic success. Conventional success says, do what works, follow the rules, check the boxes, please the right people. But authentic success says, do what's true to you. Make your own path, even if it's unconventional, even if others don't get it. This kind of success isn't easy. It's often uncomfortable. It may involve breaking away from norms or taking risks that make others question your choices. Musk himself is no stranger to criticism. His bold approach has drawn both admiration and disapproval. But that's the price of authentic success. It's not about avoiding judgment or criticism. It's about moving forward on a path that aligns with what you believe in, no matter the obstacles. By embracing your authentic self, you'll start to attract people who resonate with you on a deeper level. You might repel some people along the way, and that's okay. Being true to yourself doesn't mean everyone will agree with you or support you, but those who do will feel a genuine connection. Look at Musk's supporters. They don't just like him, they're intensely loyal because they connect with something real, something he doesn't hide. That's the power of authenticity. It creates connections that are stronger, deeper, and more meaningful than any approval gained by trying to fit a mold. When you start bringing this unfiltered version of yourself into your life, you'll find your own version of this connection, a tribe, if you will, who admires you for exactly who you are. And that in itself can fuel a kind of motivation that's unstoppable. Being authentic isn't always easy. In fact, it's often a daily choice that requires a fair share of courage and resilience. Elon Musk's unwavering drive reminds us that staying true to oneself isn't a one-time achievement. It's not something you unlock once and possess forever. Authenticity requires continuous effort. It's a commitment to regularly check in with yourself, face discomfort, and sometimes make choices that go against what's expected. You'll feel pressure to conform, to compromise, to downplay your unique qualities to fit in or be liked. Yet, the people who make the deepest impact, the ones who find fulfillment, are often those who refuse to edit themselves to meet the world's standards. Every unique aspect of you is a wellspring for growth, a source of untapped strength. From an early age, we're conditioned to downplay our quirks, our unusual ideas, and our less polished traits. Society often teaches us to value conformity, to follow predictable paths, and to stay within boundaries. But think about it. The qualities that set you apart, the perspectives that make you unique, could very well be your greatest strengths. Imagine if Elon Musk hid his bolder, sometimes eccentric viewpoints because he feared rejection or criticism. Would Tesla or SpaceX even exist if Musk had ignored his drive to explore and innovate beyond the norms? By choosing to integrate those quirks and unconventional aspects of ourselves into our daily lives, we tap into a well of inner power that can withstand setbacks, doubts, and criticisms. This kind of power isn't fleeting like motivation that comes from external sources. It's resilient, rooted deeply in a commitment to living authentically. What Musk's drive teaches us is that authenticity isn't just a feel-good ideal reserved for inspirational quotes or self-help books. It's a practical tool that can help us lead a life with purpose and clarity. When you embrace who you are, especially the parts you think are too quirky, too bold, or too rough around the edges, you unlock a unique power that no one else can take away. This power isn't about replicating Musk's mindset or lifestyle. It's about allowing yourself to be unapologetically, fully yourself. It's about giving yourself the freedom to pursue what resonates with you, to voice the ideas that matter to you, and to lead a life that aligns with your core values. Now take a moment and consider this. What part of yourself have you been holding back? It could be a creative idea you've hesitated to share, a passion you've neglected, a belief that feels too risky to express, or even a personality trait you've tucked away. Think of the possibilities that might unfold if you allowed that part of yourself to surface. I challenge you to reflect on this and to take one small step toward embracing it more openly. It doesn't have to be a grand gesture, just an honest acknowledgement of who you are and a willingness to let that part of you shine a little brighter. If you feel inspired, drop a comment below and share something you're ready to bring to the surface. Let this be a step towards showing up as your true self and see where that journey takes you. And remember, building an authentic life isn't a destination. It's a continuous journey that starts with a single, honest moment. Each day is a new opportunity to choose authenticity, to face the world with a little more courage, and to create a life that genuinely reflects who you are. If this message resonated with you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so we can continue this journey of self-discovery together. Thank you for watching, and here's to the courage of embracing your true self.